In this section of the practice, you will configure a unidirectional replication between the source and the destination systems. First, we need to perform some steps to prepare the environment for configuring Golden Gate replication. In OGG1 and OGG2, invoke SQL Plus and log into the root container as sysdba. Then make sure that the parameter streams pool size is configured. The parameter is set to 128 MB in my environment at the source database system. The parameter is set to 128 MB in my environment at the destination database system as well. Make sure the Enable Golden Gate replication is enabled in each database. If it is not, enable it. The parameter is enabled in the source database. The parameter is disabled in the destination database, so I need to enable it. In OGG1 and OGG2, create a database user that will be used by Oracle Golden Gate and grant the required privilege to it. This is a common user that will have access to all the PTPs included in the replication at the source database. Sometimes it is referred to as the C## user. Run the code as shown in the steps numbered from 29 up to 33 to grant the required privileges to the created user in the source and destination databases. In OGG1, create a user that will be used for replicating sequences and grant the required privilege to it. If the system you are replicating doesn't need synchronizing the sequences, do skip this step. The script didn't work because the SQL Plus was not issued from the GG home. Allow me to fix this, please. When you run the script, it will ask you to enter the username. Just enter the username that you created earlier. In OGG1, issue the statement as shown in step number 35. This step is needed only when replication sequences is required. In OGG2, create a user that will be used for replicating sequences, and grant the required privilege to it. In OGG2, grant the privilege as shown in step number 37 to the C## account. Granting these privileges are not part of the standard procedure for replicating sequences. However, from my experience, without those privileges, the replicate either hangs on replicating the sequences or appends with the error ORA01031. In OGG1, verify that all the tables in SOE schema have primary key constraints. Observe that the tables order entry metadata and logon don't have primary keys. Create unique indexes on the tables order entry metadata and logon. In SOE schema, make sure all the primary key constraints are enabled and validated. Only validated primary key constraints are considered by Golden Gate capture. For some reason, Swing Bench creates its primary key constraints invalidated. Run the code as demonstrated in step number 41 to enable and validate the primary keys. The constraints are validated. For security reasons, it is recommended to create a credential store to save the user passwords in it. This is much better than entering the username password in the parameter file. In OGG1, run the code as demonstrated in step number 42 to create a credential store and save the ggAdmin user credential in it. In OGG2, run the commands as shown in step number 43 to create a credential store. Create two aliases in it, one for the root container and one for the destination PTP. In OGG1, enable the schema-level supplemental logging for all SOE tables. In OGG1 and OGG2, create a globals file and set the ggschema parameter in it to the user used for synchronizing the sequences. You must restart the ggsci after modifying this file. In OGG2, copy the script recreate SOE sequel to the staging folder. Run the script in SQL Plus as sysdba to create the SOE schema in the destination database. The script is already copied to the staging folder in my environment. The script creates the user and grants the privilege to it, but doesn't create the objects. Create a testing table and a sequence in the source database.